Welcome to another episode of Indaba, the African Debate. As always, my name is Mduduzi Brian. We've got a member of parliament all the way from South Africa joining us today. As always, I will let her introduce herself.
All right. My name is Hlengiwe Mkhaliphi. I'm the member of parliament representing the Economic Freedom Fighters, which is the E.F.F. E.F.F was born in 2013. And in 2014, we had elections in South Africa. So when we were 4 months old, we just took a decision as E.F.F to say, let us go and contest for elections in South Africa. 4 months old baby, entering politics in South Africa. Then we contested elections and then we got 25 seats. We shocked the country, we shocked the world. You were shocked, I'm sure, as well, that a 4 months baby just go and fight elections, which is very cruel. It's not easy. One, is expensive. Certainly. Two, I don't know if it's happening in other parts of the continent, but in South Africa, South Africans, they don't want to vote for something that they don't know. Yeah. At least our leaders, president and deputy president, were well known in South African politics. And also our policies as E.F.F, the 7 non-negotiable cardinal pillars also made it very easy for us, because South Africans, they want to vote for something that they understand what it stands for. I mean, our history in South Africa have taught us that you don't survive if you're a small political party. Yes. If you survive beyond 5 years, it means that you are very strong. So I'm very happy to announce that this year we are going to be 8 years in existence as E.F.F. So in 2014, we entered into elections. We got 25 seats. In 2019, we grew and we are in 44 in national parliament, from 25 to 44. And as I'm speaking to you yesterday, we had some by-elections in the country. Yes. And I'm very happy that in 2 of the wards here in KZN, because that's where our growth is also being experienced in a tremendous way. So on those 2 by-elections, I think Ward 6 in Mpumalanga, we became number 2, of course. From 3%, we grew to 23%. And in Ward 20 in Mzumkulu was also experienced some growth. In fact, ANC in Ward 20 got 1,400 something votes and we got 648. So it was 50-50. We became number 2. And why I'm mentioning this particular 2 wards, Brian, is because it's in KZN. When we started E.F.F, we were fighting Mr. Zuma, the former president, and he's from KZN. Yeah. We have done some, we have killed a person. So we have met with what you call people who are very, very, very aggressive towards us in KZN. But since 2019, we grew with 300%. So we have experienced this growth, of which is showing that E.F.F is on the right path. Apart from the parliament, I'm also a former deputy secretary of the E.F.F, the DSG. So now I'm just an ordinary member or serving in the central command team, CCT. I'm the head of the labor desk. What I do every day, because South Africans are experiencing a rate of unemployment, exploitation by those who own means of production. So our vulnerable workers are left out in the cold. So in the E.F.F, we decided to establish a labor desk to go and represent the voiceless. We know that you are not a union, but we are a labor desk. We just go there and then we tell them that, no, we are here to defend our people. We've got a call here in this company. Yeah. People are saying that they're being exploited for the longest time. So therefore, we want to know what is happening. We are representing them, whether we're a union or not. It's very hard, but we fight, because we felt that 27 years into democracy, there is no gain. As we are also going to celebrate 1st of May as Workers' Day. So we are also planning to have events in all over the country, just to highlight the fact that workers have not gained anything. In fact, they have regressed. So that's what I am, Brian.
Thank you very much for that very comprehensive sort of look at the EFF. It's incredible, really, when you think about it, that EFF has been around for less than 10 years. Sometimes we can be mistaken and think it's been around for a very long time, because you have made inroads in parts and you have grown in parts. But what I want to find out from you is, as one of the founding members of the EFF, do you feel that you have, in a way, are on course, or have you met some of the objectives that you set out when you're founding the party?
Yes, but I must also be honest with you. To start in a political party is not easy.
Yeah.
Even president and the entire leadership of the E.F.F attest to that. One, in terms of resources. Secondly, we're a radical party who is challenging the status quo, challenging the white capital monopoly. So no one is prepared to fund us. If it's going to be very risky now, there is a new act, the Funding Act, the Political Funding Act, whereby if Brian is saying that, no, I'm a businessman, I want to contribute to the growth of the EFF in terms of resources, you must declare each and every cent. And if you don't declare, you are going to be arrested. If happens that Brian has donated to me saying that, Hlengiwe, I don't want to be known as a businessman that I'm funding you, but please take this money and then go and declare to the EFF. If I don't declare that money, I'm going to be arrested because of this act. Yeah. So therefore, it's going to be very difficult. But in terms of our political program, I think we are very happy with that. We have managed without resources. The only resources that we are relying on is the resources from Parliament. You know, when you're a political party, you receive constituents fund, political fund. That is the only resources that we manage to move around the country and be able to be visible. Because what is most important, Brian, is to be visible. People, they must see you. You must be on the ground, especially when we started EFF, we said we're the protest movement. So it means if there's a protest in a particular ward, we must be there as fighters to protest with our people, because we feel that ANC government have failed us. So therefore, people, the only thing they can show the ANC that they are very tired is to demonstrate. So we have said that from the beginning that we are the protest movement, but we are very happy because we have been protesting with our people at the forefront. As we are saying, that it's very hard even to believe that we are 8 years old, because each and every day EFF is releasing a statement. So we are on the look in terms of the politics in South Africa.
Now, there's so much we can cover, and so much I would throw at you in terms of questions, but we just don't have the time. So I want to point to one issue, which is the land issue. Do you think that the land issue is key to stimulating economic growth in South Africa at the present moment? I say that because we look at parallels with Zimbabwe. Rightly or wrongly, the Zimbabwean issue was dealt with when it came to land, but it hasn't really stimulated economic growth. Only recently, in the past few months, are we hearing that there's surplus in tobacco, surplus in this and that, but it hasn't really injected that serious economic growth that people were hoping for. So do you think the land issue, if we solve it today in South Africa, it will be the key to economic growth in the country?
Indeed. That is first cardinal pillar of EFF, land expropriation without compensation. And before I even come to your specific question, let me just tell you that when we arrive in Parliament, we have submitted our motion, and then it was defeated by the African National Congress, who's a majority in Parliament. And it was expected from other political parties because of their ideology. But we were so shocked, because we know very well that even ANC, when it was built to fight for land that was dispossessed by these people called settlers from Europe. Nevertheless, we also, in 2 years, I think it was 2017 or 2018, we submitted again the motion. This time ANC agreed with us. The main point to our submission on the land expropriation without compensation is the Constitution, Section 25 of the Constitution, saying that no, we must change this clause, which is Section 25. So then now we are still doing that in terms of processes and procedures. to in Parliament. But yes, land, without land, Brian, I don't think we can achieve anything, because one, if I can also start from saying that in South Africa, the rate of unemployment now is too high. I think it's 30%, if I'm not mistaken. And 55.5%, if I'm not mistaken, is youth who are jobless. And one of the reasons why people don't have jobs, especially youth, is legacy of apartheid and the poor education and training. And the second point is the slow growth of economy. We are losing every day. Is even worse with COVID-19. But coming back to you, Africa, we are led by cowards. I remember very well, I was also attending one of the AU's meeting, and one of the topic was land. And I stood up in that meeting of the AU saying, what land are you talking about in Africa? Because none of 54 countries own land in South Africa, in Africa. So why are you making us to debate land issue in this platform, knowing very well that you don't own land except Zimbabwe? And you know how difficult it is, or how difficult was it when President Mugabe was facing this monster called capitalism and fighting land. But I also want to say to you, it was not clearly defined by the Zimbabweans. The government of Zimbabwe didn't clearly define how to get back those stolen land. It was used by the veterans. It was a mess. That's why you are asking me today, Guti. Only recently, we have been told that there's a surplus in tobacco and so on and so on. I'm saying if the government of that particular country does not have a clear policies because as the EFF, so now, it means that after 27 years, South Africa, 72% of land in South Africa is still owned by people who stole the land. Whatever years, 300 or more than 300 years. We are saying we don't want to take from one person to another person. The state must be the custodian. For instance, coming back straight to your question, how is going to help us to grow economy? Yeah. You can't have 72% of white minority owning land in South Africa and 4% is blacks in our own country. So therefore, we don't want to correct that situation by saying, I'm going to take my land that you stole and give it to me. But we're saying state must be a custodian. So it means the state must be neutral. Yeah. Saying, what are we saying by that? We are saying, even you, Brian, you came here from Europe, you stole my land, you killed my forefathers and took this land by force, you raped my grandfather, my grandmother, and so on and so on. Still, the state must take this land. If you still want to go and use the land, go and apply like myself. What is happening currently in order to address the issue of economy as we are having this unemployment rate in South Africa? You find that a Van der Merwe of some sort is having a lot of hectares. Maybe he's earning, let's say, 20 hectares. And he's only using 1 hectare out of 20 for farming. And then the 19 hectares of land is not used. We are saying, let us take that land, that 19% that is not used. Hlengiwe wants to go and farm. Let us subdivide it. When Hlengiwe come and farm oranges, we are going to also to have more opportunities for people who does not want to do in farming, but who want to come and work. By doing that, we are going to make sure that what do you call more jobs are created by doing that. So yeah, that is our standpoint as the EFF in terms of land. We believe that once we are owning land, we can have jobs in South Africa.
I think that really sort of clears it up, because more often than not, when you hear this land issue, it's as though we know there's a campaign for a transition that is very quick and almost saying, give the land to XX, give the land to so-and-so. But when you clear it up now and say that you want the state to be the custodian of the land, that makes it very clear. And I think it sends a very good message and a better message more than anything else. Now, just to finish us off very brief.
and it's very fair. We are saying, Brian, you came here from England, you stole my land, but you still want to work the land because we are saying that, no, I'm a South African now. So, no, fine. This land is enough for everyone, but go and apply for 25 years lease. We are not saying, no. We have stole this land, we have to use this land. No, now is my time. I said, no, let's just be fair, all of us. And I don't know what is so difficult for white people in South Africa to understand that.
I think we'll get into that one on another day. But what I want to bring is a different dimension just before we close off, which is, as much as we are still in the midst of talking about land and redistribution of land within the continent, we are also having what I would describe as the second struggle for Africa, the second scramble of Africa, where now we are having the Chinese and the under influence of the Russians slowly creeping in. What are your thoughts on that? And how can we address this as a continent, as South Africa, and as a continent? How can we address this?
You know, US has been a superpower for a long time. And as Socialist Party, as a person who believes in the ideology of communism, we always advocated for China. Yes. Because China was the one who was able to take, toe-to-toe the US. But now coming to Africa, my men, who are saying to our people, our leaders, they must not allow that. I don't know why it's so easy for anyone. It has been Europe, US, now it's China, as we are saying also Russia. But the problem is us. You know, this Zimbabwe, Zambia, all these countries, why are we not gearing up for one Africa? Because you see, China as a continent, that's why they have powers to say when they want to grow their economy is very easy. That's why we are so defeated very easy as Africa, because I'm also as a very small state which calls South Africa. I don't want to go and say, no, let us fight for one Africa in order to have one currency, one language, and our economy can be work for us as Africa. So the problem lies with our leaders. There's no political will. You remember President Gaddafi spoke about it. And what happened to Honorable Gaddafi? He was killed. And us as African states as well, especially in South Africa, we also part of that killing of Gaddafi instead of protecting Honorable President Gaddafi. So my take is that the problem lies with us. Once we said, no, let us become one continent, let us have one president out of 54 countries, Ramaphosa must become the prime minister, as well as happening in China, in terms of strengthening our economy. No one is agreeing with that because we all want to have our cocoons. I'm the president of South Africa, I'm president of Zimbabwe, I'm president of this. It does not work for us. So that's why countries like China will always want to take advantage of that disadvantage of Africa.
Brilliant. Hlengiwe Mkhaliphi, thank you ever so much for joining me here on Indaba, the African debate. We really appreciate this.
Thank you very much, my man. Next time we're going to have more conversation.
Yeah, there's
promise.
So much to cover. But this has been Indaba, the African debate. Thank you ever so much, guys, for joining us.